is Simon Kishner. I am the European, African, and Middle Eastern point of contact for families that are either currently part of the Léman Manhattan community or are thinking about sending children to either our residential or a day school program. I live in Italy, as Jones mentioned, and I'd like to start with a heartfelt thanks to the Net24 team for allowing me this opportunity to speak to this audience and to be able to promote our very international program in New York City. Here, I'll start by saying that it's always very nice to meet as many agents as possible. About 70% of our enrollments come from agencies, and so for us, maintaining a relationship with new agencies across the world is a key part of what we do. Léman Manhattan is a very unusual boarding program. First of all, we're not for everybody. When a family is thinking about a way to spend $100,000 on a child's education, they're usually thinking about something more rural, more Lake Geneva-y. We have no lake, we have no forest, we don't have a chapel in the middle, but we have everything that you are looking at right now. This enormous cultural capital and landscape of sort of unlimited opportunity that exists in a very cosmopolitan, very dynamic city of New York. If you could see my mouse on your screen, I'm not sure if you can, but basically this is Léman Manhattan. This is our upper school, right at the northern corner of the park. You'll see at the center of the screen. In case you don't see my mouse, is the building ring with a green roof. Okay, yeah. Great. This is the upper school. So we have a lower school and the residences about 450 meters away. So to stress, we are a completely urban boarding environment. Primarily, Léman Manhattan is an elite private school based in the heart of downtown Manhattan. We serve the neighborhood community of Manhattan and the larger New York City. Children enrolled at the school come to us from 18 months to 18 years. Of course, the boarding school starts at grade 9. So there we're enrolling kids who are 14 and up. So today, we have about 750 students enrolled with us across the kind of primary and secondary spectrum. About 10% of our students are boarders in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. When speaking about the school, I usually try to underline the internationality of Léman Manhattan as an organization overall. It's not very obvious from our website, and I think it's a critical part of what the school represents and should be a very important part of the decision-making of the families that think about sending boarding students to us. So again, boarders comprise 10% of the school only. The day school itself today, this year, has more than 70 nationalities enrolled at the school. So it would not be a stretch to call us one of the more international schools in the United States. We are school number 2 for the United Nations. We're a school for the expatriate community in New York City. So what that means is, obviously, families who come to New York City from Beijing to Buenos Aires, who live in New York, who speak English in school and probably professionally, but who really understands the inevitable challenges of immigration, because boarding school is immigration light for a lot of kids, and allow Léman Manhattan as an institution the knowledge and the skills and the real understanding of how to integrate kids who come to New York City without their parents into our residential program, how to integrate them into this very particular, very cosmopolitan slice of American life. So families that you will be speaking to, your audience, wherever they are, should be reminded that boarding school is not always an easy prospect for a young person, that integration, and not just who gets into what Harvard when and the size of the swimming pool, is important, and that Léman Manhattan does a particularly good job of integrating children into a very international community of families, as opposed to a social bubble outside of Geneva, where 97% of the students are boarders, and to this particular slice of Manhattan life. So otherwise, we brag about the same things that other elite schools do. We sent more than 80% of our students to top 50 US universities. Last year, it was Harvard and Duke and Cornell. So after 2 years of the pandemic and all the interruptions that came with it, Léman Manhattan continues to enroll students to very, very competitive programs, both in the US and a small but consistent minority returns to Europe for schooling. So these are some of the schools here on your screen where we sent children. Obviously, there are hundreds more over the last few years. Léman Manhattan is an IB program. It's a world IB school. So IB principles are part of our pre-IB diploma curriculum. Students as early as middle school start thinking about IB issues and are fully prepared to receive the diploma in grade 12. Now, IB in the world, and particularly in the US, is now ranked as really the top high school diploma, sort of gold standard in secondary education. Deans of admissions at top universities have come out publicly saying that they see it as a plus, again, when applications are coming in. And obviously that gives our students an extra edge when their resumes are compared at applications to university. Our IB program boasts some very interesting electives. Again, given the fact that we're in New York, we're offering electives in theater and film and visual arts. And the faculty that is involved in our program are very much part of the cultural landscape in the capital of cultural life in the United States. These are some of our Ivy League matriculations in the last couple of years. You can see just visually how international our school is. About half of these folks here are boarders. The young man who got into Harvard University in top right is a first-generation Nigerian immigrant who lived in New York City. And it's really is a face forward that we're proud of. And our school, again, is a very international institution, and one of its great values lies in that. The college prep process at Léman is a comprehensive one. We start meeting with students in grades 9 and 10 on a regular basis to discuss the PSATs, the all-important SATs, selection of a group of universities besides MIT that children would like to go to, writing of essays, and really putting together the college application package that gets them into school. We also talk to them about what they will be doing during the summers between 10th and 11th grade. The school sends students to traditional pre-college programs at elite universities across the United States, but also we refer students to some very competitive internships, which are available in New York City, companies that we have a history of work with that allow us to enroll high school students into elite teams in investment banking or theater management or advertising and law firms, and really the working landscape which exists only in New York City. An incredibly significant experience for the student herself, who understands what her parents talk about when we talk about working and what expects her, what is waiting for her in 6 or 7 years. And a very strong sign to the same elite universities that will be considering her application in grade 12. So that is something that allows us, again, to graduate a lot of children at very competitive universities in the United States. The school is well funded. We have wonderful classroom facilities in the building. I've pointed out to you before. So this is the upper school, where classes are on floors 21, 20, and 19, tall building. We have quite literally spectacular views out our windows, being one of the only buildings in that part of Manhattan that does not have an 80-story tower right in front of us. So we can see the Hudson here and the Statue of Liberty in the background there on the right. Our auxiliary facilities are in the same building. So this is the cafeteria where boarding students would be eating 3 times a day with a culinary team, which obviously prepares everything for the time of meals. Notwithstanding being an urban school and not having Etonian fields of play right outside of our kind of backyard, which we also don't have, we field more than 45 sports teams each year. So we devote quite a lot of valuable real estate to our sports program. At the school, we have 2 25-meter pools. We have a very strong swimming program. We have 2 floors of gyms inside the school where we play things like volleyball and basketball. We have connections to athletic facilities in New York City, the neighborhood, and the larger city, obviously, where we play sports like squash, tennis, golf, and larger team sports. Now, these are played frequently in the neighborhood or in downtown Manhattan, or this is a particularly spectacular is the word that I frequently use to describe this field on the Governor's Island, which is about 300 meters or so away from Ellis Island across the Hudson, where obviously the Statue of Liberty is located. So that is my very, very quick overview of Léman, Manhattan. I want to take 2 more minutes of your time to talk about the residential program, but to summarize, Léman is an elite private school. It caters to children living in Manhattan primarily. 90% of our students are day, and they are coming to us from as early as age, 18 months. 10% of our students are boarders who come to us from all over the world without their parents. The school, being an international community of families who live in New York City, really does a good job in integrating kids into a particular community in New York City, a very cosmopolitan, very international community. And we're a school that sends a lot of kids, a lot of really great programs, both in the US and Europe for university. Léman, Manhattan is the only elite private school with a boarding component in New York City. There are no others. Our children live at 37 Wall Street, which is very much the center of downtown Manhattan. What used to be the New Amsterdam. Wall Street used to be the wall that separated the Dutch settlement from the forest that was to the north of it. Now, of course, it's a place where the stock exchange stands. So this building at 37 Wall Street that you're looking at is 70 meters away from the New York Stock Exchange to the right of this door. We rent 2 entire floors in this residential luxury building, which is anchored by Tiffany's and Co. jewelry store. So here are the entrance to our facility. The lobby looks like this. There's a 24-hour security guard who sits here. And the kids go up to floors, which again are occupied only by students of Léman, Manhattan and dorm parents who live quite literally door to door in apartments on this floor. The apartments look like this. So the students are always sharing a room, or at least in one other person. The apartments are suites, so they have 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, which share a living space and obviously facilities. This is more like a suite living at university than an individual dorm room cut up with a bathroom on the floor. Our residential life program is 7 days a week. Of course, Saturdays and Sundays, there's always something for the students to do. So we go to see theater or go to see sports games or have pizza in the neighborhood or dinner in Chinatown. We travel to Princeton to look at universities, Boston as well. Saturday and Sunday, there's always something to do. We are, after all, in New York City, and now post-pandemic, we are re-engaging with the city in a social way. Let's see here. Again, we stress international student support as a really big part of our program. The integration, the ability to, make the transition from one country to another, from one academic program to another as seamless as possible. Our specialized college counseling program allows us to send children to very good universities, and it really is a jewel of preparation, and something that, again, is not always available to foreign families when they think about, applying to universities in the United States. We offer personalized academic support, so one-on-one tutoring is available to all of our students, as well as an English as a second language, or the way it is called now, English for speakers of other languages. Here, however, I would caution that we're not a school to come to learn the language, right? We'll help with kind of assistance. We'll help the student to get accustomed to a new English-speaking environment. But as part of the admissions process, we really are focused on, getting kids with a strong level of English. I would say C1, B2 in certain cases. And we ask our collaborators, our partners, to filter out kids who do not speak English, because that's the sort of a red line for us. So we will have a sense of humor about a low mark that a student may have received in, grade 5. We will not have a sense of humor about the level of English, which, if you look at the admissions checklist on your screen now, we control through the interview. So we ask for 2 recommendations from teachers, pretty standard, a personal statement in English, obviously, from the student, and 3 years of grades, so current plus 2 previous years. Then we conduct an interview, which is done online, and there we talk to an applicant for 45 minutes to an hour about their life. Unlike English schools, we do not ask for additional testing. If any testing is required in math or science, that's done after enrollment at arrival in New York City. But we do speak about, complicated issues from the student's life. Because of the type of school we are, because of the type of families that send children to us, our students, again, without exaggeration, are citizens of the world. They may be spending their time between Beijing, say London, and, I don't know, Cape Town. And we are looking for kids who understand the complexity and the sophistication of their lives, who, like a needle, pass through various cultures. And, the mandate of the school is to enrich their view of the world. So I almost always ask kids to talk about a work of art, for example, that has influenced them in one way or another. And I'm looking for a sophisticated answer to seemingly simple questions. And the sophistication I look for is both from the standpoint of their grasp of English as well as their worldview. The budget for a family for a year is $95,000, which is a substantial number. I would stress that the budget is fixed, so it is everything that the student would need for 10 months of residence in New York City and attendance of our school and all the activities of the residential program. No one is calling the family to ask for an extra fee to play football or to go for a weekend trip somewhere. Here we basically cover everything from the arrival and the pickup at the airport to medical insurance to laundry of the uniforms provided by the school. We're very keen on working with agencies, and so our commissions start about 12% of the number you saw there. Again, please contact me through Net24, and I'd be very happy to discuss the particularities of our commission schedule and how we work with individual agencies in various countries to promote the school. That's my pitch. Léman is a remarkable opportunity for the right family, perhaps a family that already has a connection to New York City, and for the right student who looks to, an opportunity to live and to study in a very dynamic, very cosmopolitan place, and to develop their skills and their worldview, in a community that is international and exciting. That's my pitch in the school. One more thing that I wanted to add, since this is a sort of a B2B presentation, right, is how I prefer to market the school. So I travel to fairs once or twice a year, which are, audience facing, sort of, family facing, but a bulk of my time is spent creating opportunities to be in front of 5 families, not 500. In different countries, that takes different forms, but by and large, I look to partner with agencies and third-party businesses that already are dealing with audiences that could consider a school like Léman. Wealth managers, private clubs, folks who sell aviation services. It really matters. It differs from country to country, but my point is that I would like your help, if you're listening, in your country, in your audience, to partner with, let's say, a private bank that would allow us to contact their audience and have a joint presentation on a school like Léman, because that ultimately is what really works well for our recruitment efforts. I have a budget to do that. My area of coverage is substantial, so it's all of Africa and the Middle East and Europe and the Russian-speaking countries. And I would be very happy to work with you to develop those type of opportunities. Again, I wanted to thank Jones and the entire team in Net24 for allowing me this chance to reach out to you. And please keep in touch.